G'day there guys, as you can see, me and my dog have a very close relationship. Would you know it, we're reading out r/relationship advice today. Now if you guys need some help with your relationships, I'm sure you can sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, and get some lovely advice from today's posts. Thank you. Posted by user Anonymous PE. Titled, My aunt died and my boyfriend said he doesn't want to be there for me. I, female 22, feel so helpless. I asked my boyfriend, male 21, just to hold me in his arms while I was sad, and he just stuck his arm out super half-assed and started cracking his knuckles and acting annoyed at me. I told him that I wanted him to be more emotionally present, and he got mad at me for asking that. He said that he didn't want to be my support system and that he doesn't care enough to be there for me. I know I deserve better, but I somehow feel like it's my fault he doesn't want to be there for me. I told him I feel helpless and that I made an appointment to see a counselor next week, and he responded with a sarcastic, "Congratulations." That hurt a lot because I was hesitant to tell him in the first place. I told him I didn't like the sarcasm and it was hurting me, and he responded with, "Congratulations, genuinely congratulations, you're finally getting help after years." I want out, but I don't know how to get out. I also don't want to leave though. He says it's because I've pushed him to his emotional limit. I don't understand how. I feel like he's never been there for me, he blames everything on me, and I don't know what to do. Please help. I feel so helpless. Now in the comments, Blobby McGoo says, "Dude, that is truly disgusting behavior. He knows he can get away with treating you like crap and you'll stay with him. You need to leave." Instant breakup. He literally told you he isn't there to perform the basic requirements of a friendship, let alone a romantic relationship. Then what is he there for? To use you for sex? Right. F off, dude. Why do you not want to leave him, OP? Is it that you're afraid of change? And Expensive Tap 1 says, "That's not a boyfriend. That's not even a friend. Not only is he not helping you through your hard time, he's making you feel bad for grieving. If I were in your shoes, I'd just leave and never talk to him again. He doesn't even deserve a proper breakup, but that's just my opinion." Agreed. I think even a stranger is more likely to empathize than this guy. He's a hard no. Dump him. I have legitimately had more kindness from a stranger that I met on the subway once. This dude is literally worse than talking to a stranger on public transport. And back to the post, OP provides an update and says, "Thank you all for the kind words and support. I've had a little time to reflect, and I am going to leave. Unfortunately, we live together and run a business together, so there are a few things that I have to figure out before I break up with him. I'm seeing my new counselor soon, and I'm hoping that she can guide me through this." So yeah, that's all the OP has left for us. If there is an update in the future, I will be sure to cover it. Our next post is by user ThrowRA Black Heiress, titled, "Should I confront my mum about lying who my biological father is, or should I just let it go and keep the family happy?" So I, 21 female, am from a family of 5, mum, dad, and 2 older brothers. Me and one of my older brothers are mixed, black and white, while my oldest brother is white and their biological child. Interestingly, my mother is the mother of all 3 of us biologically. Obviously, I noticed from a young age, and I was told that my dad, who is white, adopted us. When I was 11, I had the nerve to ask more because the whole thing did not make sense to me, and my parents explained that my dad was infertile after an accident and they opted to get a donation. This is probably 100% true, as I can still see the scar on my dad's stomach and he walks with a limp. When I got older, I asked, "Why are me and my brother black?" And they told me that it was actually a mix-up at the doctor's office, and they didn't want to make a big deal about it because they didn't want my brother or I to feel less loved because of our skin color. They just reused the other embryos when they had me 2 years later. When I was younger, this story made sense, but now that I'm older, I am so skeptical. I should start out by saying that my mum and dad are amazing to me. They treat us no different than my oldest brother, and my dad is even eager to help me discover my African culture when I got really into it in high school. Both of my brothers are great too. However, I'm a biology student in college now, and I decided to get one of those 23andMe tests for me and my brother out of curiosity. I got one for my brother because I was curious about this information from the Y chromosome. I asked him to keep this a secret from my parents because while they answered my initial questions, they always pushed back when I inquired further. The results of this test were surprising, to say the least. Sure enough, we had the same mother and all of the same maternal family members, but we were biologically just half-siblings, which means we have different biological fathers. When I told my brother this information, he was angry at me and told me to just leave this alone. He thinks what I'm doing could destroy the family and wants no part in it. Well, I had 5 half-siblings, which I initially thought was evidence of a sperm donation. It would make sense. But after getting in contact with one of my half-siblings, I found out that she still lives with my presumptive bio-dad. Luckily, the guy was not married or anything, and he agreed to talk to me, and what he said sort of shocked me. He said that he'd never been to a sperm bank, but he had a lot of girlfriends, and it's possible one of them got pregnant. To be honest, I ghosted him shortly after the call because he seemed like a complete asshole, but it's very likely he is my biological father. Now the working theory that I have right now is that my mum cheated on my dad with different guys after his accident, and they somehow got back together. They must have come up with a lie to try to smooth things over as much as possible without making my mum look bad, because I would honestly be very mad at her if she actually did cheat on him. I asked my oldest brother if he remembers anything, but he was only 4 years old when I was born, and he never remembers arguing or fights. The only thing that does not make sense to me is why my dad has no resentment toward me or my brother. Dad has no family because he was a foster kid, and most of Mum's family does not talk to us besides my aunt. I feel like if I keep pushing this, then I might cause a lot of unnecessary emotions to come up, but I'm also curious and feel like I should know. Do you guys think I should push this issue or leave it? We have such a great family dynamic, and I'm thankful for my upbringing, and I don't want to ruin it. Now, in the comments, Not From Venus 42 says, I don't know what you should do here, honestly, but there are possibilities other than infidelity. For example, it's possible that your parents have an open/non-monogamous relationship, and your mum got pregnant through that. They may have felt that it was inappropriate to tell their young child about their wild sexual adventures and change the story to, we used a sperm donor instead. So if you do talk to your parents, I wouldn't jump to making accusations right away. I think it would be better to start with just letting them know about the DNA results and what you found, and prepare for this to be an uncomfortable conversation. Maybe both wanted more kids and agreed for Mum to get pregnant elsehow twice. I find it unlikely that she cheated and got pregnant twice and Dad still stayed, or that she got pregnant twice out of an open relationship. Check the Boxes says, I'm not going to touch on what you should do, but I want to address this specific part. Quote, the only thing that does not make sense to me is why my dad has no resentment towards me or my brother. It's because he has no reason to resent you. Let's go with the scenario that your mum cheated. You and your brother are not to blame for your mum's actions. It's clearly obvious that you weren't biologically your dad's kids, but whatever the circumstances were, he chose to be your dad. No biological connection doesn't automatically mean hatred towards the child. Quote, Dad has no family because he was a foster kid. If anything, this might clue you in to why your dad holds no resentment. What I'm about to say would imply cheating happened, but we don't know that. You said your likely bio father is a real asshole, so what do you think your life would have been like without your dad if he left because your mum cheated? He knows how hard it is to not have a family because of his own experiences, so he didn't want you and your brother to go through that. Maybe he wanted to give you guys the loving family children are supposed to have, and that doesn't mean he hated doing that or he hates you and your brother for not being biologically his. Whether you decide to push this or not, your dad, your real dad, is the one who raised you and loves you. And Serafina says, you can't necessarily conclude that your mum cheated, Your parents may have broken up, but ended up getting back together after you were born. It sounds like she had no plans to continue relationships with either of your bio dads, so they concocted a badly thought out story to tell you guys as kids. I don't think there's any point in confronting her. Whatever went on with your parents' relationship has been squared away long ago. Plus, it sounds like the bio dads were deadbeats that she got knocked up by, so there was really no loss on you or your brother's part. And OP replies, I do not see any paternal family members from his side. I don't know if the guys are deadbeats, but when I Zoom called my presumptive bio dad, he was not concerned that he may be talking to his daughter, and seemed like he was drunk. His other kids live with him though. And someone replies to that, I mean, what's your motive here? Your parents already know what happened and moved past it to give you the best upbringing. Your outcome is so fortunate, yet you're looking to stir things up? What's the point of bringing up old wounds that they probably took years to heal? You are not telling them anything that they don't know. It's not like you're going to have a relationship with your bio dad now, so just leave it alone. And OP replies, I'm just curious and I don't think it's fair for my parents to lie to me about my DNA, I guess. And someone replies to that, look, I get it. I think you deserve the truth. But don't get mad at your parents for lying to you. They could have had a whole host of reasons for doing it. The most important thing is that they both raised you with love. Sometimes truth could scar a kid. Once you cool down, take the mature approach and ask your mum nicely. Tell her what you did and why you did it. Tell her that you can handle whatever it is as long as she's comfortable sharing it. As someone else asked, what if it was something traumatic like the R word? Tell her that you love her and your dad and that nothing can make you think anything less of them. All of this is if your objective is the truth and not to judge or vilify them. And now for the update. So, I, 21 female, talked with my mum real late last night and got all the information I needed. I know it is really prying, but I learned so much. So it turns out IVF is like super expensive, and they didn't have a lot of money when we were younger, but they wanted to grow their family. The whole reason for the sperm donation clinic lie was for my mum's parents who have since passed, and she does not feel the need to hide it from me anymore. My dad is apparently bi, which is a huge surprise to me because he gives no outward appearance of being bi. Mum and dad met other men to conceive us, and they just really liked black guys. Mum also loved the idea of having mixed kids, so just sort of intentionally got pregnant this way. I'm low-key kinda happy that it was not cheating, so I'm glad that I asked, but kind of also surprised that they intentionally wanted black kids, and that Mum and Dad both did that. Mum told me not to talk about it, as it would potentially be embarrassing for my brothers and dad, so I'll leave it at that. I'm happy for the family that I have, and although the concept story is super weird, I don't think that affects us now anyways. Parents are not vanilla after all. Also, I feel kinda bad for arguing with my dad about how he doesn't understand the problems I had because he was a white man. But I think he gets it after learning all this. And edit, sorry if I didn't make it clear. Mum told me not to talk about it because it would make my brothers uncomfortable and may embarrass my dad because he's not really out as bi and just doesn't want to be. He goes hunting, works out hard, and does other typical manly activities, so I think he's got some issue with people knowing. My brothers are similar to Dad, and although my brothers are not homophobic, I doubt they would want to know the details because they're not really enlightened on this stuff as much. He was nearby when my mum and I were discussing this, and made sure to come in and let me know he loves me and doesn't want our relationship to change and stuff. Mum did all the talking otherwise. I really think my dad heard everything and he would have interjected if my mum was lying. Now in the comments, Basic Bichette says, I'm glad you sorted it out. The last thing good parents want to do is embarrass their kids by having their sex lives out in the open. But in this case, maybe they should have said something earlier. What they might have said, I don't know. I can see why they didn't. And OP replies, well, I understand that, but at the same time, I would want to know at some point. And Skelly Dog asks, have you considered a career as a detective, OP? I'm glad it all worked out in the end. And someone else replies to that, OP immediately jumped to infidelity and didn't really want to hear alternative explanations in the original post. So while they might fit right in at a police department, maybe this isn't a great suggestion. To be fair, infidelity is probably more common than the truth here. Statistically, OP made a good call. And our next post is by user Lauren Walker 13, titled, I, female 19, made out with my best friend, male 19, in a vulnerable moment, and now he's mad at me. What do I do? Okay, so just for some backstory, my best friend and I have been best friends for the past 7 years. He's literally my favorite person in the world, and we honestly just click so well. We know everything about each other, and honestly just have the best times. He's my favorite person, no doubt, our friendship is the best, and we're just so comfortable around each other. He's so funny, like, we're laughing 90% of the time we're together, and even though he tries to act all tough, he has such a soft spot for the people he cares about, and truly has the world's most pure soul. Anyways, we were literally made to be best friends. However, a couple of months ago, he told me that he's had feelings for me for the past 1.5 years. I told him that I didn't feel the same way, and although he was super bummed out about it and needed space at first, we were able to continue with the amazing friendship. We put up a few boundaries though, but our bond is amazing no matter what. Anyways, so yesterday, Justin and I were just kind of chilling in his room, and his mum came up and was showing us some old pictures on her old phone of us when we were in middle school, and we were all just kinda laughing at them. We all ended up just talking for hours, and it got really late, so his mum just told me to stay the night. Different rooms, don't worry, because she didn't want me driving home at this time. Then when she left the room, the two of us kind of just sat and talked about life and memories, etc. Eventually, he started talking to me about his asshole dad and stuff, which is a touchy subject, but he's comfortable talking to me about it since I was there through everything happening, and, you know. We both ended up getting pretty emotional, especially because he's not the type to ever really open up, and tries to act really strong for his mum and sisters. And I'm just not used to seeing him like that, and I'm used to him being all protective and comforting towards me, and I just felt like it was a really vulnerable moment. We kind of put a boundary for no hugging ever since he said he had feelings for me and stuff, but I just really felt like I needed to give him a hug in that moment. I don't know. I ended up going in for a hug, and we hugged for a while, and then I don't know what happened. I swear I don't even know how it happened, but one thing led to another, and we ended up kissing and making out. It was honestly super emotion-filled and amazing, but I kind of just stopped before anything went too far, and told him that I didn't want to go too fast or anything. He said it was fine, and we then just sat there, and kind of just spilled our emotions to each other. I told him how I've started having feelings for him over the past few weeks, and that I just didn't want to admit to them, and was even convincing myself that I didn't have them, because I was afraid of putting our friendship on the line and stuff. After talking, I told him I was tired and wanted to go to sleep since I had to leave early the next morning for my dance class. Then, the next day after my dance class, he told me to come over because we needed to talk about what had happened. When I first came over, he was being really dry and just quiet with me. I asked him what was wrong, and he told me that what I did was wrong. He told me that I caught him in a vulnerable moment, and that I don't even have feelings for him, and that I was just caught up in the moment. He said that I don't have to feel bad for him and make out with him to make him feel better. I told him that I wasn't lying, and that it really was how I felt. He was like, "All of a sudden though? You paid no attention to me in that way, and then you throw it all on me in one night because you felt bad and made out with me?" This honestly really hurt. I ended up kind of tearing up because I was just frustrated and it was an overload of emotions. I felt super anxious, so I just told him that I'm gonna need a bit to collect myself, but that I needed to leave. He apologized super quickly when he realized how he made me feel, but I told him I was just going to need a bit, and I left. He's been calling and texting me, but I don't know. I just don't want to answer him. I feel awful about it, but I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I can't believe he thought that I was lying to him. Am I a bad person for catching him in a vulnerable moment and tugging him? I shouldn't have done that, but I swear it was in that moment where I felt so strongly about the way I felt about him. I didn't want to tell him earlier because I wasn't 100% sure about the feelings I had, but I know now. And now I feel terrible about it because it seems like I just started liking him after making out, when I swear that's not the case. What do I do? I really do need advice. Now in the comments, Singularity Mechanics replies, everything is so dramatic at 19. This is quite simple. 1. He's afraid of getting hurt because you previously rejected him and worried that it's not real. 2. You developed feelings, but instead of talking to him to see how he feels, you did something at a very inopportune time. 3. Both of you have concerns about how it could impact your friendship. Now the good news is the fix is very simple too. 1. Text him that you need 1 to 2 days to work out your feelings, and then actually do that, and suggest he does the same. 2. Text him after that and meet up with him to discuss what you think and what he thinks. If you want to add some dramatic flair, you can each write it down and hand it to each other to read. And 3. If you both feel the same and want to try it, go on a date. Good luck. And OP replies, how do we even go on a date? How would it be different from when we just go out together and hang out alone? What would be the difference? Because I like the way we are now when we go out together. We have so much fun. Is it not going to be the same? And someone else replies to that, it's different because you're now both thinking about a potential romantic relationship. So it's more flirtatious. Maybe you're talking more about your feelings for each other, cozying up to each other at the bar, restaurant, whatever, holding hands, etc. It's odd because you already know each other so well, so you don't have to go through all of that, but it's about making an effort to change the dynamic and seeing how that feels. And K. Redied says, quote, I can't believe he thought I was lying to him. He put himself in a very vulnerable position by admitting his feelings for you, which weren't reciprocated at first. He obviously wanted to put up some walls to protect his feelings. I think this is what happened here. It's not like he really thought you lied. He's just preemptively reacting to you telling him that it was just a momentary thing and you really just want to be friends. I know I'd probably do something like this at that age. It's not easy to be a teenager with all these emotions. I'm sure he didn't want to hurt you. Talk to him, take things slowly, and don't feel like either of you have to make some big declarations. Start going on dates and see how that turns out. You have a chance to have a solid relationship. You've been friends for a long time. Don't let resentment ruin that. People say the stupidest things to protect themselves, and as much as I'm also a person that cries easily when someone doesn't believe me when I talk about my feelings, not just in romantic relationships, and it hurts, in some cases it's understandable, and we just have to try our best to look at things from the other person's point of view, which is hard. Best of luck. And OP replies to that, after reading all these answers, I think what I've realized most is that I need to look at it more from his perspective. I can see where he's coming from and I can't expect him to be able to read my mind. I think we're both scared and confused right now and just need to figure things out. I think I'm in a constant battle of wanting to feel and do certain things with him, but being afraid that we will ruin a beautiful bond we already have, and he's in a situation where he wants to believe that I have feelings for him, but is afraid of being rejected again by someone who he has had feelings towards for over a year. In the end, we're both putting up a guard and I feel like it's just hurting us at the end of the day. Anyways, thanks so much for the answer. It really helped me see things from his point of view. And now on to the update. Since a ton of you were just so kind and understanding and answered my post, I felt like I needed to update you guys. First, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who answered. You're all the sweetest human beings and really helped me understand and reflect on the situation in a fair way. So, I ended up taking some of the time to myself to really reflect on what I feel and what I want, and I told him that I was just gonna need a day or so. Then he came over, bought us our favorite ice cream, apologized, and explained himself and his side of the story. He told me that the only reason he was acting like that was because he was trying to push me away. He told me that he was afraid that it was just something I felt temporarily, and was afraid that I made out with him because I felt bad, and not because I truly had feelings for him. He explained how since he's not used to opening up and is always the protective one for everyone, he didn't know how to react to me taking care of him, and kind of felt like everything was too good to be true. He's so cute. He told me how this all feels like a dream, and that he's waited for this moment for 1.5 years, and never thought that it would actually happen. I explained how I've had feelings for a while. Obviously not as long as he's had feelings for me though, and that I was afraid of acting on them because of fear of ruining our bond, and that I finally felt comfortable opening up about it in that moment because of how emotionally vulnerable and connected I felt to him in the moment. We went into just a really deep, emotional, beautiful, and mature discussion about the situation and the way we just felt about each other. He told me how even just listening to me talk about something I'm excited about assures him how much I mean to him, and just spilled his emotions and all the things I do that he's obsessed with, and I wish I recorded all of it because this boy acts all tough, but I swear he has the most pure soul of the entire world. I feel like we're so used to just always laughing, being dumb, and doing fun things when we're together. So it was just so amazing to be able to sit and reflect on how we've grown as best friends over the past 7 years, and how we're both ready to take on something new together where our connection becomes deeper than that. When we were 12, if you told me that Justin and I would end up together, I'd call you insane, but here we are. We've honestly seen the other as physically attractive for years, before having actual emotional and romantic feelings, and now that we both have romantic and physical attraction towards each other, we knew what step we had to take. I feel like as much as we wanted to stay best friends to not ruin our relationship, now we can't even imagine only being best friends because we're far more than that, and someone who feels that emotionally connected and in awe of someone can't just stay friends with them. I can't wait to see where this journey takes us, because I know it's just going to be a long, beautiful, indescribable ride. And by the way, our parents and friends are so insanely happy. They're all like, finally, we were waiting for this to happen. I know we just started being in an actual relationship, but it's already amazing. I've learned that sometimes you need to put fears aside and go for it, especially when someone who you care about so deeply is involved. It's literally like we're still the bestest friends ever, but there's an even extra things to do that make our bond even better. We've already built such an amazing foundation, bond, communication skills, and openness throughout all the years of being best friends, and as long as we continue to always treat each other that way, we're going to be more than amazing. We're both just really happy right now, and the wait was worth it because we're 110% sure about the way we feel, and just are so grateful for one another. I just wanted to thank everyone for the amazing answers, and so does he. I showed him the post and he kept telling me that everyone who answered is so smart, and said that I wish I could meet them all and say thank you. We both really appreciate it. You guys really opened my eyes and let me see things from his perspective, and I can't thank you all enough for that. Thank you all for the kind words and advice. You really helped me out a lot. It was so sweet to see how others that you don't even know are willing to help you out. The world is such a beautiful place. I hope you all have an amazing day, and thanks again. And down in the comments, M. Coon says, so when I was little, my grandma took me over to her friend's house. Her friend also happened to have her grandchild over. So I met and played with this girl in the backyard for a few hours, but we didn't stay too in touch. I thought she talked too much and she thought I was too quiet. Years later in our teens, we met again and became best friends. Eventually we realized we had feelings for each other and got together. We've now been together 17 years, married for 12 years, and we have a beautiful baby girl. I wish you and your boyfriend all the best and all the luck in the world. I hope you'll be writing a similar comment somewhere someday while still in love with your best friend. And OP replies, so happy for the two of you and the baby girl. I really hope so too. I just have an amazing feeling about everything to come. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Friendly reminder that I'm now posting daily on my second channel, Markee 2. If you want to laugh at memes with me, link is down in the description below. On phone, you just click that little arrow underneath the video. I also want to say thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your names are currently floating down the screen here, and I love to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. If you see yourself on screen, I want you to give yourself a big pat on the back for being amazing as always, and thank you for supporting me again. I do hope that you guys have a good day, night, sleep, whatever it is you're up to. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.